You think your freezer is safe, a fortress of convenience, a backup plan for uncertain times. But what if that frozen aisle comfort is the quietest threat in your home? Behind every box labeled wholesome or ready in minutes hides a network of industrial shortcuts. Oxidized oils, lab-borne meats, and sodium loads that can cripple a heart faster than stress ever could. In an economy where real food disappears first, these frozen fixes become traps, built to last on shelves, not in bodies. Tonight, you'll learn the truth, because what's sitting in your freezer might already be your first mistake. Number 1. Frozen burritos. They sit in your freezer like a promise. Quick, filling, harmless. The picture shows melted cheese, golden tortilla, a perfect bite of comfort ready in minutes. But peel back the foil and you're not opening dinner. You're unwrapping a chemical equation designed for profit and permanence. A frozen burrito isn't food preservation, it's food embalming. Every gram of flavor you think you're buying has been replaced with stabilizers, starches, and preservatives that can sit in storage for months without decay. That's not nutrition. That's survival science gone corporate. The first betrayal hits in the numbers. One frozen burrito can carry between 800 and 1,500 milligrams of sodium. Half, sometimes all, of what a healthy adult should consume in a day. For a senior, that's not just a number on a label. It's the difference between balanced blood pressure and a restless night of swelling, dizziness, or a trip to urgent care. Sodium doesn't just season, it swells. It forces your heart to work harder while your kidneys scramble to push out the excess. Every quick meal adds up to chronic strain your body can't ignore forever. Then there's the meat, or what's left of it. Those seasoned beef and sausage blends aren't real cuts, but reconstituted protein slurries, mixed with fillers like modified cornstarch, hydrogenated oils, and texturizers. The flavor comes not from spice or fire, but from laboratory compounds built to mimic both. Nitrates and nitrites, the same preservatives that color processed meats, linger beneath the surface, building quiet inflammation with every bite. Add to that a microwave's uneven heat, and you get another risk: cold centers that harbor bacteria while the outer tortilla burns. For older immune systems, that's not a small oversight. It's exposure. Even the tortilla, that soft wrapper of convenience, hides more than you'd think. It's often reinforced with emulsifiers and dough conditioners that don't exist in real bread. They're designed to prevent cracking after freezing, not to nourish digestion. The result is a chewy, rubbery mouthfeel that your gut recognizes as foreign long before your taste buds catch up. In an age of economic anxiety, frozen burritos have become the illusion of control. A cheap, stable meal for uncertain times. But control built on chemicals isn't control at all. The solution isn't complicated. Make your own and freeze them. Use real beans, real protein, real spice. Because when corporations freeze time, they don't save freshness. They suspend responsibility, and they expect you not to notice. Number 2, breaded fish fillet. The box says crispy, golden, wild caught. You see ocean blue packaging and think you're buying heart health in a breadcrumb coat. But thaw one out and the illusion cracks fast. That crunchy surface hides the truth. More batter than fish, more filler than food. Most frozen fillets aren't fillets at all, but pressed fish paste, blended with starch, preservatives, and just enough flesh to legally call it seafood. Factories stretch every ounce of low-grade white fish with modified starches and binding agents, inflating weight and profit. What you taste as texture is actually engineered crispness, a chemistry of hydrogenated oils and sodium phosphates that survive freezing and reheating, but leave your arteries coated in oxidized fat. These products are pre-fried in cheap vegetable oils, then frozen, then fried again in your oven or air fryer. That's not home cooking, that's double oxidation. Every reheated batch pushes your inflammation higher, your blood pressure tighter. The sodium content is just as brutal. A single serving can pack over 600 milligrams, and brands disguise it with seasoned coating and flavor enhancers. You're not seasoning fish, you're sedating your taste buds. Seniors seeking omega-3s for heart support end up consuming the very compounds that damage vessels and raise cholesterol. What's marketed as clean protein is a nutritional illusion built for shelf life. The sea isn't in your freezer anymore, the factory is. If you want real fish, skip the breadcrumbs. Buy raw fillets, portion them yourself, and freeze. A drizzle of olive oil and a pan sear will feed your heart, not fight it. Because when the ocean's promise gets battered in oil and starch, you're not eating dinner. You're eating the debris of an industry that stopped caring what food means. Number 3. Frozen meat pizzas. A frozen pizza looks harmless. It's the taste of family nights, of warmth and ease. But slide it from the box and you're holding a disc of deception. Beneath the cheese and sauce lies a network of industrial shortcuts, each layer designed for storage, not nourishment. The pepperoni isn't meat. It's a processed blend of fat, nitrates, and fillers dyed to look alive. The cheese is often reconstituted dairy powder, sprayed with anti-caking agents and flavor stabilizers. Even the sauce hides corn syrup, salt, and citric acid, chemically tuned to survive months of warehouse limbo. The crust? It's a starch sculpture. To prevent sogging, manufacturers use emulsifiers and conditioners that make dough behave like rubber instead of bread. What should be fermented grain becomes polymerized filler, chewable but barely digestible. And every slice carries a hidden tax, more than 700 calories and over 1,000 milligrams of sodium, compacted into something that feels like comfort but eats like collapse. Frozen meat pizzas aren't just a junk meal. They're a map of a broken food economy. The ingredients are global, shipped from the cheapest suppliers, assembled in plants that treat flavor as branding. What's sold as convenience is really dependency, a slow erosion of the ability to cook, taste, and discern. The cure isn't giving up pizza, it's reclaiming it. A few real ingredients, dough, tomato, olive oil, real cheese, can freeze cleanly and feed you with clarity. Because no cardboard box ever delivered comfort, it delivered conditioning. Number 4. Frozen pot pies. A pot pie feels safe. The smell of childhood, flaky crust, creamy filling. But nostalgia has become the most powerful disguise in the freezer aisle. That golden shell hides salt-thickened gravy, cheap meat substitutes, and industrial starches created to mimic the feel of home cooking. The warmth you expect is manufactured by stabilizers like carrageenan and modified starch, substances that make the texture survive freezing, not your arteries. Inside, the sodium spike hits like a trap. A single pie can contain half to a full day's salt intake, driving up blood pressure with every comforting forkful. The gravy that looks rich is actually hydrogenated fat whipped into starch, holding its shape under fluorescent light. For seniors managing hypertension or kidney stress, that's not a meal. That's a setback disguised as care. Even the meat is barely meat. Many brands use meat product blends, scraps bound by protein isolates and flavored with MSG-like compounds. Vegetables, once fresh, are cooked twice before reaching your plate. Once in production, again in reheating, stripped of nearly all nutrients. What's left is memory food, stripped of meaning. Microwave it and you'll see the deception firsthand. The crust scorches while the middle stays icy, a symbol of what this food really is. Half-cooked promises held together by chemicals. Make your own small pies instead. Real chicken, fresh peas, less salt. Freeze them if you must, but keep the truth inside. Because the next time you crave comfort, ask yourself, does it taste like home? Or like a factory pretending to remember it? Number 5. Frozen breakfast sandwiches. They promise a fast, satisfying start. Eggs, cheese, sausage, done in 2 minutes. But peel away the wrapper, and that breakfast is nothing but a simulation. The egg isn't cracked fresh. It's a stabilized powder blend held together by emulsifiers and gums that make it microwave safe, but nutritionally empty. The sausage is a composite meat slurry, molded to look like food, injected with sodium and nitrites to keep its color bright. Even the cheese isn't dairy in the traditional sense. It's oil-based plastic melt, engineered to stretch on cue. Each sandwich carries the chemical weight of convenience, 700, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, heavy saturated fat, and preservatives that outlast real freshness by months. For seniors, that means water retention, blood pressure spikes, and digestive distress, all before 9 a.m. And the texture tells the truth your mind tries to ignore: rubbery eggs, brittle bread, and a greasy aftertaste that doesn't leave. Frozen breakfast sandwiches exist to sell time, not nourishment. They exploit the fatigue of modern life, the illusion that you can eat efficiency. But every bite feeds dependence, on processed systems, on chemical fixes, on the comfort of shortcuts that cost longevity. The fix is simple and real. Cook your own once a week. Use real eggs, lean turkey, or a slice of avocado. Wrap, freeze, reheat gently. It takes minutes to make mornings human again, because nothing about survival or health is instant. Number 6. Frozen fried chicken. The photo on the box shows perfection: golden crust, tender meat, steam curling from the edges. But what you're really buying is fried oil frozen in time. Each piece of frozen fried chicken is pre-fried in industrial seed oils, flash frozen, and then meant to be fried again in your oven. That means every crisp bite carries 2 rounds of oxidized fat, the kind that fuels inflammation, arterial stiffness, and metabolic exhaustion. The breading hides the worst of it: sodium, flavor enhancers, and color stabilizers designed to fake freshness. Even when reheated, the grease doesn't leave. It seeps inward, making the meat heavy, slippery, and hard to digest. For older adults, that's more than indigestion. It's circulatory strain in disguise. Manufacturers label it crispy, but crisp is just chemistry. Inside, the meat is often mechanically separated, glued together with protein binders, and flavored with artificial spice to mask age. It's food built to photograph well, not to nourish. And yet, the trap is emotional: comfort, familiarity, the taste of home without the labor. That's how dependency is built, by trading warmth for imitation. The solution isn't giving up fried food, it's reclaiming the method. Bake or air fry real chicken at home, with oil you trust and salt you control. Because there's nothing comforting about food that's been cooked twice and cared for, never. Number 7. Frozen French fries. They look innocent: a side dish, a small pleasure. But every frozen fry in your bag has lived 2 lives before reaching your plate. First, pair-fried at the factory in industrial seed oils to lock in color and texture. Then frozen, bagged, and reheated again in your oven or air fryer. That double fried doesn't just crisp. It oxidizes, turning oils into inflammatory compounds that age arteries, dull metabolism, and feed the very inflammation you think diet can fix. The crunch hides the rest. Most fries are coated in dextrose, anti-browning agents, and modified starch, all designed to make old potatoes look golden after months of storage. The uniformity you admire is artificial, chemically engineered to resist time, not deliver nutrition. And inside that crust lies the true cost: oxidized oil residue, starch stripped of fiber, and acrylamide, a heat-formed toxin linked to cellular stress and inflammation. The sodium trap follows close behind. Restaurant-style frozen fries often contain 400 to 600 milligrams per serving before you even add salt. For anyone managing blood pressure or kidney strain, that handful of fries is a loaded risk. And when those fries darken or burn, you're not just tasting overcooked starch. You're consuming the byproducts of industrial heat abuse. The cure is not abstinence, but awareness. Buy plain, uncoated potatoes, slice and bake them once, with a drizzle of clean oil. Let your food live one honest life instead of 2 chemical ones. Because every crunch that tastes too perfect probably came from a lab, not a kitchen. Number 8. Frozen pasta dinners. The box says Italian style and a steaming swirl of noodles and sauce. But what sits inside is less Italy, more industrial chemistry. Frozen pasta dinners are built on refined flour, thickeners, and stabilizers, not whole grains or real tomatoes. The sauce that looks rich is thickened with modified starch and sugar, engineered to stay glossy through freezing, thawing, and microwaving. That sheen isn't freshness, it's control. Each meal loads between 600 and 800 calories, heavy with sodium and hidden sugar. The pasta, stripped of fiber, spikes blood sugar fast, a silent sabotage for seniors and diabetics. The meatballs and sausage are protein blends, cheap cuts mixed with soy isolates and MSG-laced seasoning. Vegetables are decorative: 2 peas, 1 carrot, all overcooked to pulp before you taste them. Even texture lies. To prevent sogginess, manufacturers add emulsifiers that make noodles feel springy long after their natural life has ended. The result? Food that looks comforting, but leaves you drained, hungry, and chemically full. What's being sold isn't pasta, it's emotional engineering. A replica of warmth made to feed nostalgia while starving nutrition. Real pasta doesn't last a year in plastic. It lasts minutes on a plate. The fix is simple. Boil whole grain pasta, freeze portions of real sauce, and reheat once. Let olive oil, not additives, coat your meal. Because every balanced dinner stamped with a barcode is a transaction, and your health is the currency being spent. Number 9. Frozen TV dinners. TV dinners were born from convenience and nostalgia. A complete meal in a single tray. But what once symbolized modern progress has become a factory-made mirage of balance. Those neat compartments, meat, potatoes, vegetables, are not portions of food. They're chemical zones, each stabilized with preservatives and emulsifiers to withstand months of cold storage. The beef may not be beef, but mechanically separated protein, padded with soy, starch, and sodium phosphates to fake texture and flavor. Every bite is architecture. The glossy mashed potatoes, whipped with hydrogenated oils and gums. The gravy, salt thickened with carrageenan. The vegetables, cooked twice, nutrient dead, color fixed with sodium metabisulfite. And the sodium content itself, how much 200 milligrams or more per meal, turns this frozen convenience into a cardiovascular time bomb. What looks balanced on the box is imbalance disguised. Too much fat, too little fiber, protein stripped of real amino depth. Yet the illusion persists because it feels safe. The tray looks organized, the portions defined, the labels familiar. That's how the system sells dependency. Real cooking disappears. Measured squares of industrial food replace the act of nourishment. If you crave convenience, make your own trays. Cook once, freeze honest portions. Roasted chicken, real vegetables, a baked potato. You'll feed your body, not your conditioning. Because every frozen dinner is more than a meal, it's a psychological drug designed to pacify hunger and quiet the instinct to question what's actually inside. Number 10. Frozen desserts. They smile at you from the freezer aisle. Smooth pastel tubs and bars that whisper guilt-free indulgence. But frozen desserts today are chemical sculptures wearing sweetness as camouflage. Most low-fat or light ice creams replace dairy fat with corn syrup solids, artificial sweeteners, and stabilizers like guar gum and carrageenan, giving that perfect creamy texture that your body can't recognize as real food. Even non-dairy alternatives use seed oils and emulsifiers to mimic milk, turning what should be nourishment into digestive confusion. Then comes the sugar trap. A single pint of healthy ice cream can carry more sugar than 2 sodas, disguised under names like maltitol, erythritol, and tapioca syrup. They spike insulin differently but achieve the same outcome: inflammation and energy collapse. For older adults, those compounds also draw water into the gut, leading to bloating, cramps, and unpredictable digestion. Artificial sweeteners compound the risk. Sucralose and aspartame, common in no-sugar-added versions, disrupt gut bacteria, the very system that keeps immunity strong and mood stable. The more innocent the label looks, the more engineered it is. That's the quiet cruelty of modern dessert marketing. Comfort sold as control. You can make your own with 3 ingredients: frozen fruit, full-fat yogurt, and honey. It freezes rougher but digests cleaner, with no chemicals pretending to be sweetness, because indulgence isn't evil. Deception is. Number 11. Frozen processed meals. They fill the largest section of the freezer aisle. Healthy choice, lean, smart. Words that sound like self-care but hide the mechanics of industrial nutrition control. These meals aren't made to feed, they're designed to regulate appetite through chemistry. Flavor enhancers like MSG and maltodextrin activate pleasure centers while low-calorie fillers keep your stomach busy and your body unsatisfied. The result? A cycle of craving disguised as discipline. Each tray tells the same story: refined carbs, processed protein isolates, synthetic vitamins, and salt. Enough to preserve color and mask blandness for a year. What looks like portion control is malnutrition with marketing. The illusion of health allows corporations to sell processed dependency in recyclable packaging. You feel responsible, they stay profitable. The body recognizes the lie long before your mind does. Within an hour of eating one, blood sugar surges, insulin spikes, and then crashes. You're hungrier, more tired, and falsely convinced you've done something good for yourself. For seniors managing chronic conditions, that loop isn't harmless, it's destabilizing. The only lean thing about these meals is the margin for truth. Cook in bulk once a week. Real grains, real vegetables, real meat. Freeze your own survival system. Because no brand that profits from fatigue will ever tell you the truth about nourishment. After all the deception, two frozen allies remain: plain vegetables and frozen berries, unmasked, unprocessed, honest. Flash frozen vegetables are harvested at peak ripeness, blanched, and sealed without the preservatives that define their toxic neighbors. This fast freeze locks in vitamins that fresh produce loses after days of shipping. Broccoli, spinach, and peas retain their fiber, iron, and vitamin C, and unlike canned food, they carry no metallic residue or added salt. For seniors, that's survival food, nutrient-dense, soft to chew, quick to cook, free of the industrial disguise. Then there are frozen berries: blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Their color is nature's code for antioxidants, and flash freezing preserves it. Real brands don't use syrup or sugar. They freeze the fruit as is, protecting anthocyanins, fiber, and vitamin C that keep inflammation low and circulation stable. In a crisis economy where fresh fruit spoils fast, these are insurance policies against scarcity. But integrity still depends on vigilance. Choose brands that list only one ingredient, the fruit or vegetable itself. Avoid pre-seasoned, sauced, or sweetened versions that smuggle sodium or sugar back into your plate. In an age when most frozen aisles hide decay behind polish, these simple items are proof that food doesn't need marketing to matter. The lesson isn't to fear the freezer, it's to fear what's been done to the food before it got there. Stock what nature made, not what factories reshaped, because when systems fail, the quietest, simplest foods are what keep you standing. Frozen isn't the enemy. Blind trust is. The freezer aisle isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. It reflects how far we've drifted from real food, how easily convenience replaced care. Every box, every tray, every glossy label is a transaction between your hunger and their profit. But now you know the pattern. Long shelf life always means short health span. The collapse won't come from one bad meal. It comes from trust misplaced day after day. Clean food still exists, but it doesn't advertise. Choose simplicity over slogans. Because survival isn't about what's frozen, it's about what still feels alive when you eat it.